You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Okay, here we are, deliberately live today, and it's show 79. Today is Friday, the 15th of August 2014. It's Friday already in Australia. We are ahead of most of you by some hours. And Yah has been looking at Nehemiah again through the night. I'm about to read a PowerPoint he was working on this morning. Some pretty amazing shots from Nehemiah.
Do a screen capture of the PowerPoint.
A screen capture of the PowerPoint. Now,
can you do that?
I'll try to get it going. If it interferes, then we're history.
Don't worry about it.
No, it always ends up. You can capture it later and upload it to the channel. All right, let's go over to the PowerPoint. Now, we were looking at this last night and then up again this morning, as this will be uploaded over at the YouTube site, so you can look at it there. But at 6:50 a.m.
Swing it around so I can get the camera on.
Okay. Okay, I was just focusing the camera so that this can be uploaded over at the YouTube.
I'm getting you as well.
Oh. So at 6:50 a.m.
Pull it around a bit.
This way?
Yep. Otherwise,
Okay.
can you excuse yourself when you do that?
Oh, that's my chair. All right, so there's a large planet or objects they are not seen at 6:50 a.m. down at Nehemiah. Going to the next slide, are you ready?
Let me zoom in on it. All right, go through.
Okay, slide 2. And then at 7, so this is 7 p.m. We've got 6:50 a.m. and you've gone straight to 7 p.m.
No, it should be a.m.
So, yeah, right, okay. I'll
change it now.
I'll change it now.
The reason is that I did the evening first because they're only 10 hours apart. And as I was going through them, of course, I've got to change it from AM to PM, or in the 2400-hour format. So if it's 1700 hours, for example, it's 5 PM. That's pretty obvious. But because I was concentrating on what I was seeing, and I was ducking back and forwards with drawings and going back to August the 11th to have a look what's happening then. So it was pretty spectacular and difficult to keep them in the right order because I was jumping back and forwards. However, I went back just before I handed this to you and changed the right times to AM and PM. Right, so
all right,
that's AM that you're looking at.
This is AM. And 7:20 a.m. So what have we got happening here?
Well, you see the black line there. It's showing you the the planet that is creeping out from that light. Well, the actual planet itself is not moving, but it is gigantic. And I wanted to point out that because it is stationary, that means it's locked over Antarctica to stop the Earth from tilting over, because it's very, very large. But it's brimming with angels. This is sort of the angels' home base. And you'll see as we go through where the 4 vehicles of sorts move away from the main planet, and also there's a moon orbiting it, and it is in a geocentric orbit above the South Pole. So that's what you're seeing. Now, the light as it shines on and off, it's very, very strange what the light is doing, because of the magnetic fields are all over the place in Antarctica. The light is being bent. So you'll see that the top left there, how the light is showing a flare off the camera. So carry on.
So now this is the next slide. Is it PM again, or should
It
that
should be
AM?
AM.
Okay.
Sorry about that. You rushed me and I didn't have time to change them. Go ahead.
Again, so this
Yeah.
is 7:50. All right.
It's all AM. So you see the large round planet there starting to appear. Now the light conditions are very odd. The sun position is not the illuminating factor. There's something else that illuminates it. You can see from the right hand side of the planet there that it's got a light source from another section of the sky. So carry on. And that light that's coming through is one of the unusual effects that happens at the same moment. When that occurs, then you start to see all sorts of strange things. There, got the right. There you go. Hey. So I've zoomed in on it so you can see it clearly. Now we've been watching this for quite a long time. There's a few slides here I've put in from August the 11th, because that was Alaska's birthday. I thought it was rather significant. Now you can't see it quite clearly there, but there is a small moon of some sort. You can just see the outline behind the clouds there.
Here?
Yeah,
Or-
now go down a bit. Okay, now go to the left. That's the planet. That's
yes,
the big planet.
this is the big planet, but you're talking about its moon.
Well, move along a bit and you might
Okay.
see the moon better. Okay, then the light conditions change somewhat, and then you can't see it. It's very odd, but the lens flare is still picking it up. So it's not. We're talking heavenly light here, and this is where all the angels are. That's why you can't see them. This is why they're all panicked, and that's why they've set up this attack on Palestine and the Ukraine, because the Jews know that they are the habitation of the demons and the angels are coming to get them. Now, angels are perfect in the shape of a human being. In a sense, they can be large and small. They can mate with women, but they're not human beings. They are angels. There's a difference. The angels were made to establish the earth for the habitation of human beings. There's the small planet.
Oh, here.
That's on the edge of the big one. It's only there for a few minutes and then it's gone. Now what's also happening is it goes suddenly, as I say there, 10 minutes pass and it's dark again at 8:20 a.m. And there are slides that we'll get into. It goes from pitch black to bright to pitch black again. So there's something coming over the station down there that is extremely bright and large. It's not the moon because it's going past. 10 minutes goes past and that's goes from darkness to light.
Okay, so it's getting lighter again now.
Yeah. You go to your next slide.
There it is at 8:40, quite light.
So So you've got several light sources down there. You've got these moons of this planet that are orbiting over the Antarctica region. And I'd say there's about 5 that's picking up the light and reflecting it when it shouldn't be light. And when you look at it in close-up of the snow, it is white as opposed to yellow. If it's the sunlight, now that there you can see the sunlight coming up, and it's a yellow colour. And you'll see that the building itself is giving off colours. In other shots, it's not.
So this is 10:40 now.
Yeah.
So,
it looked like a chemtrail overhead.
So now we're jumping to the afternoon.
Now we're jumping to the afternoon.
4 p.m.
Yeah.
Sky's very pink. Suddenly white light at 16:20, another 20
You see that
minutes.
flash of white light along the snow there?
Yes.
Well, this is extremely unusual. It's not a normal phenomena that you'd be recognised on the Earth. Something very odd is happening. You'll also see on the right-hand side of the station
Yes.
that it's brighter.
Now, am I seeing something here? Or
I can
or is
see
that-
something there.
Yes. I'm closer to the screen, but it looks almost like the shadow or the hint of the same planet. Or is it...
Usually the big planet itself, is in the same position all the time. That's what's holding the Earth from flipping over.
No, it's darker with light under the building.
Yeah. So it's still got that long flash of light, and appears to be that the camera in relationship to the station is lined up so that when the light starts to emerge on the horizon, it's shining through the actual supports of the station itself.
Now it's darker
It's gone dark all of a sudden.
at 16:50.
We're at 10 minutes, right? It goes
Yeah.
dark. Okay, now I've put in here some writing I want to explain. You can read that out if you like.
So the planet appears in the morning at 7 a.m. and remains for 50 minutes. Then at 17:20 or 5:20 p.m. it's there again, remaining for 50 minutes, but clearer in the surrounding darkness. This large body is locked onto the South Pole, preventing the axis tilt to continue. The planet is the home base for my angels, which are being dispatched to the earth to eliminate the Jews and its empire. Angels are perfect in nature and compared to human beings, which have devolved into a Sodom state caused by the Jews. Everything will be purified. I remind you, the fallen angels mated with women. These became demons via the reincarnated evil men to dominate the world via the Jews. Pope Francis is a Jew. John Paul II was a Jew. These are the most high-ranking cardinals, bishops and priests are Jews. The Archbishop of Canterbury is a Jew. Obama is a Jew. The Queen is a Jewess, and on and on. These are the vehicles in which these demons dwell. My innumerable angels are landing on the earth as I speak. The end is nigh.
This is a shot of what the light should be in Antarctica, but because the Earth is tilted over, there's nothing like that. I have other programs that I run, and it shows the coastline of Antarctica and how, at any date in time, how it should be before the approach of these large planets. and dwarf sun. So we've been watching it for months. The following is August 11th. This was Alaska's birthday, that's why it's important to me at least. You can see the emerging planet there. Now it's the light conditions that cause this. So we see a large light on the left hand side. When you see it in live time, it's moving across the horizon and rising higher. So suddenly it goes dark. This is August the 15th now, 2014.
The next slide, this one here. So we're back to...
So suddenly the lights are out. It's like switching the light off. It must be very amusing for the Germans down there to be witness to all this.
So brighter with the light under the building. So this is at PM again.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually, because we're in the 15th, it's night time there.
We're in the 15th now, yeah.
Yeah, but this is still the 14th in Antarctica because of the delay. They're 8 hours behind us. So it's just after 4 in the morning. So all of these shots were taken 17
What I look
yesterday.
at is how much activity there's been on the snow, whether they've had the snow ploughs out or whatever. And I think what they do when things are getting really hot, because the Jewish are in command of what they're doing down there, and so the Germans aren't putting up with it, and occasionally they'll go out with a snow plough and they'll run the snow plough and blow snow in front of the camera. That appears to be what's happening, because in some of the shots there you can see them running around on the far horizon there with a snow plough on, blowing the snow. So that sort of indicates to me that they're sending me a message, because they know I'm watching and they know what I'm doing. And they're Germans and they want to get the word out, and the Germans are controlled by, of course, the Jews. So they've got to be very careful how they do it. So I apologise for calling them morons now and then.
Now here it is at 17:30 p.m, 5:30 p.m. This is yesterday.
Right.
Now this, we had the conversation last night where you described the orbs that literally invaded your space.
When I was a young man, yeah.
Yes. This is what it reminds me of.
Well, they would appear to be about that big too, but of course I was only 100 metres away when I saw them, or maybe a little longer, 200 metres maybe. But tell them what I said to you.
Well, it was a time when you were, at your lowest level of despair. All of the trauma with Tracy, and you drove out to what turns out to be the Michael Point.
Yeah.
Overlooking the beach there, Wollongong, high up. How high is that?
About 1,000 feet.
1,000 feet high, and it's where the hang gliders...
It's where the first flight happened on Earth. It wasn't the Wright brothers, it was a guy called Stanwell who had his first flight. And he did it in a box kite. Big, huge box kite.
Right.
That's the first flight.
Mm.
It was late 1800s.
Right. Now this particular day, as you were in the depths of despair, you said that you were just started to write, and the light vanished. It was, with
like
sun
a
going down, sun setting.
Sunset.
Sun was going down, it was getting dark, and then you kept writing, and when you noticed that it was light again.
Well, I got to the point where I couldn't see to write.
Yes.
And then I noticed that the sun was coming up again, or it appeared to be the sun because it was yellow. And I thought it was the sun had gone behind a cloud or something.
Mm.
But as this continued, I looked around. I saw the light was coming not from the sun, but from the valley across the road. And when I got out, I saw that the sunlight wasn't sunlight at all. There was 5 glowing orbs of light, like mini suns. You would think it was the sun. If you took a photograph of one of them, you'd say it's the sun.
Mm.
And unfortunately I didn't have a camera. But as these 5 large orbs, possibly in the neighbourhood of 50 feet wide each one, and at about 200 metres or so distance, they were all lined up, all exactly the same distance apart and exactly the same size, and they started to descend into the valley which I was looking down upon. And you can see them going into the trees and the incline of the valley on the one side on my right. They were down slightly below my sight level, and slowly, over a 20-minute period, I'd say, maybe longer, they were descending in between the trees and through the trees, and then finally, the first one started to descend into the ground as if the ground wasn't there. There was no interaction of physical to the light itself, and it didn't diminish at all as it was going in. It just slowly went through into the ground and then vanished. The next one, by then, because it was only some feet or 50 feet maybe away, and in a straight line, there were 4 remaining, and each of them slowly descended into between the trees, through the trees. You can see the trees in front, and then descended one at a time into the angle of the valley as it descended from the right to the left. And these things were going straight down through the trees and into the ground like the first one. And then the second one did the same. So then the third one was doing the same. Then the fourth one, and then finally there was only one left, and that was the fifth, and it went into the ground. When we went back there, if I could have shown you the distance away it was and the angle, but it had been overgrown by then up at my road level. We couldn't see past the trees on the road. But it would have given you, I could have estimated exactly how big they are and how far away they were. So, but I'm saying it's probably in the neighbourhood of 50 feet. So the whole thing might have been 400 feet across and 200 metres away. But it was...
Now, what happened at that point within psychologically and emotionally?
I had reached a point of desperation of the life that I was living because, as I've said to you before, the 3 lines on my face, which is the Hindu prophecy, if you like, the 3 lines represent past, present and future. So I've spent 70 years hanging on the cross. So each day of my life has been another drop of blood that drips out of me. And I could almost foresee and predict what the next agonising event would be, but always I'd be surprised by the depth of the evil surrounding it. For example, my daughter Tracy, and I mentioned this yesterday, she was only 14 years old, but she dressed like a slut. I couldn't do anything about it, no matter what I tried. I didn't beat her, but I felt like it, and perhaps I should have, but I don't think it would have made any damn difference because she had inherited the nature of her mother, and the mother is a complete and utter rounded slut. So I don't really have a problem with a woman as sexual. That doesn't bother me that much, but because we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah. But what annoys me to the greatest extent is the soul of the person, how evil they are and how deceitful. And when I found out that my daughter was going out with a rapist at 14 years of age, I even went to the police because she's underage, right? They couldn't have cared less. They actually laughed at me. So I thought, now, if you was writing a script of putting Christ into hell when he comes back to the earth, this is it, it's perfect, right? So as it turns out, when I found out, I'd been stopped by a friend of mine on the street, and he told me that I should look into it. And of course, I drove into up the hill into the area. It was a battle axe property. And Eileen, my wife, was standing there, and I stopped the truck, and I walked up to her and I asked her about it. Like, did you know? And she said, yes, it's been going on for 6 months, right? And I said, why the hell didn't you tell me when I could have done something about it? They're going to punch this guy's lights out, right? And she said, you're such a good man, you'd do anything for anybody, that I wanted to get even with you. Now, that haunts me. That shows you the depth of evil of this bastard, right? Mm-hmm. So, what do I do?
Well, I'm just asking you because this is the way the world, with what is happening in Palestine, now the Ukraine, with the wars, Iraq, because the USA is back in Iraq.
You're going to have to stop bumping the camera.
Sorry.
Look, I'll move it for you.
Thank you. Okay.
Now stop sliding around the bloody floor.
Yeah, no. I'm bringing it back to, I was asking you, how are you feeling? Because this is the way those who give a damn, those who are not the Christians and siding with the perpetrators of what's going on, this is how the world is feeling.
Exactly. They are mine. They are made in the image of God.
Yes.
They haven't lost it. Although they've been dropped into families families themselves are usually demonic. There is a demonic spirit. Once you get into one of the members of the family, it'll make that person influence the other. It's usually the older people. That's why when you have child molested in your family, it's usually a close relative. Right? You'd never believe it. Uncle did that, or my brother did that, or... Well, I've experienced all that. I've seen it. Right? Michelle's family in particular. That was unbelievable what I found out about what was going on down there. Right? So I have great fears for the granddaughters because they inherit this type of demonic influence around them, right? They're immersed. It's like diving into a pool that's covered in oil, right? You're going to get oil in you. Right? So the family represents that swimming pool of evil, blackness. And a child born into it, they have to be very strong to be able to resist it, and usually go through some horrid experience to they get so upset by it all because the righteousness soul within them cries out for something to save them from it. Right?
Cries out for justice.
That's exactly right. So what's happening in Palestine, for example, this is entirely the Jews, and I have no sympathy at all for the Jews, nor the ones that don't believe in me anyhow or believe in Jesus. I don't have any sympathy for them. Right? They have to be eradicated like you'd cut a cancer out. Right? So if you've got a baby child and it's got cancer, and the doctor says to you, look, the only thing we can do here is get into it with a knife, right? Which is usually the case. What do? Right? You have to trust the doctor and say, okay, do it. Get rid of it. Now, on a medical grounds, of course, we do it another way. We do it with proper food and water and intelligence. But people that are locked into a situation where they rely on their wonderful doctors, who are agents of Satan anyhow, and they says you've got to cut it out. Well, this is what happens. You cut it out. Well, I agree with that. If you have no other way of ridding yourself of it, we're given the opportunity to become good. They ain't. In fact, the goodness that Hitler gave them by not destroying them in concentration camps and making it into a really the safest spot on earth they could have been during the war. They weren't bombed, right? They weren't incinerated like the Germans were. Yet, what comes out of it? How many are standing up with their hand in the air saying, hey, this is not what they're saying about the concentration camps didn't happen. So why aren't the good people amongst the Jews saying it's untrue? Huh? None of them are saying it. Yet there is every year people that were in the concentration camps gather to celebrate
and have reunions.
Their reunions
to
of
talk
the
about
people that survived it.
Yes.
And it was typhus that killed most of the Jews at the end of the war,
yes,
and starvation,
no
which had already gone through all Germany anyhow. I mean, what they did to the German people is far worse. That's the Holocaust. Right?
Well, it was until the Jews hijacked the word right up through, after the war, through the 50s and the 60s, the word Holocaust was referring to the firebombing of Dresden and Hamburg. What happened those nights? when tens of thousands were incinerated within 20 minutes. The horror.
Now, I find it hard to believe, I've only become aware of this in the last 10 years, that you can't even mention the word that there's a possibility that this didn't happen to the Jews during the war. You get jailed for it. That's the most incredible thing. Absolutely incredible.
Now, speaking of what didn't happen, let's scroll through this PowerPoint. Where are we at?
There's a close-up of the planet. Now you see, if you was looking at the Nehemiah, and by the time you get this on the air and you go down there, it might not be available for another week. But it will appear, and it'll get more and more numerous sighting down there. You just have to know what you're doing and study. But you can see the gigantic size in the clouds in front of the planet. Right?
Also,
it's a different form of wavelength of light.
Yeah, and it has a magnetosphere. Catfish from Galveston, Texas, did a screen capture of his shots of the webcams that he studies through the night. He's not very sophisticated on the computer, so all he can do is watch the sky cams all over the northern hemisphere. He's also former Navy, so he's been trained in what it is that we're looking at, and he's been saying all along these planets have their own magnetosphere, the moon doesn't, etc. So it's like a magnetic signature. His shots he has on his photo timeline from July are astonishing. In the early hours of the morning, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, north, south, east and west, there are lights in the sky. It's like there is no nighttime anymore. These light sources are all around the horizon, filling the night sky and showing the magnetic lines on the webcams.
Right.
You know, you can identify the sun, it has its own signature, but these planets have their own magnetosphere,
right.
And that's the difference between...
Now, if you look very closely to the right-hand side, near the bright light seems to be another sphere that could be the moon orbiting the planet. See?
Yeah.
Come up, go across a bit. There. It looks to be a sphere.
Right.
Now, there is a moon, because I do have a decent shot of it, but there is a moon that does orbit around that, and very quickly. So it's close to the surface of the planet itself.
Right, let's move through these slides. Now, it looks really ethereal, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Very clearly seen at 7:50 p.m. There are also some good shots going on Facebook this morning. People have been taking their own photographs. It's becoming so obvious. Now, this is the planet, the same place at 6 p.m. or 1800.
Well, it's been the same place all the way through, so it's geocentric. In other words, it's locked onto the South Pole. And of course, from that position, you're looking towards the South Pole.
Wow. This is 1810.
And the amazing thing about it is all of a sudden it'll go, the lights out, and then 10 minutes later it's bright as day again.
Yeah.
You see they're saying in relationship to the building it's staying in the same spot. So the white smoke you see, it's the kitchen on the end there that they're cooking.
Yes.
So you can go by the time.
18:20.
6:20 in the evening, so they're cooking their meal, right?
Here's the...
That's a little moon, you can see there. So it's not that far off the surface of the planet, and then she zooms around. It's going around it probably in a letter of about 20 minutes. There's a close-up of the moon. I tried to get a shot of it there, but it starts to pixelate. Of course, now 10 minutes later it's gone, right? But same position. Now the light that's coming through is rather unusual. It's square. So that light is coming from the horizon. It's so bright It's extraordinary. Now, because that light is coming through our atmosphere, it gives you a different view of it.
And then it looks like there's smoke from the kitchen that starts to
Yes.
cover the planet.
So,
Now the smoke is really covering the planet. It looks like they're having a bonfire in the smoke from the kitchen.
but you can see the flare. Now, off to the left there's 4 lights, UFO types. I suggest to you that they are inhabited and they're coming towards the Earth. And you'll see in the next slide, I think it is, that they are descending. One more. Okay, you see they're descending.
Yes.
So these are angelic. Now, an angel is subject to the same conditions as you would be if he was coming in through the Van Allen belt. That's why the Americans never went to the moon. You can't go on the outside of the Van Allen belt because you get radiated by the sun. Be cooked. The Russians tried sending a chimpanzee to the moon, and what happened? It killed it. Right? It was dead just 10,000 miles out. So I'm not very happy for the chimpanzee. However, angels are made exactly the same as human beings, except they're not human. Right? And of course they are immortal, as long as I want them to be. And human beings will become immortal like the angel.
Like the angel. And that explains the scriptures.
Right. So if you know this, you can go through your scriptures and you can put a red line through the crap. Leviticus, Deuteronomy and all that nonsense they go on about. Exodus. It's all bullshit. And just study your Gospels. That's all you got to do. Revelation, you can look at that. Look at the Essene stuff. The Book of Enoch. That all fits together. Job. Daniel. They all fit. They're all Essene. Daniel's Essene. Isaiah's Essene. Job is an Essene. And Job is the oldest book of the Bible. So when the Jews put the Bible together, they put the longest book first. It should not be there. You put the oldest book first, which is the book of Job. And it's in Aramaic, not Hebrew.
All right, moving now, just reading by 3:10 to 4 a.m. Light varies, indicating orbiting objects. The conclusion is that the large planet is locked onto Antarctica. This prevents the Earth flipping further. The small moons lighten the night 4 times as they orbit above Antarctica. Many reports of these angelic craft transporting angels to the Earth, assembling my army for battle with the Jews who are
This is your Armageddon, see?
Yes.
So where's the battle going to happen? Armageddon. Where is it? Megiddo.
Megiddo. Valley of Megiddo. Finishing, my angels are human-like. They must approach the Earth from a shielded orbit to avoid the sun's rays to pass through the Van Allen radiation belt. They will hunt down and cast the demons back into Hades.
Well, the demons are angels. Angels fight angels. So unfortunately the Jews running around all demonised, they're going to go with it.
Yes, the body of flesh, the vehicle.
Well, Obama, the Queen, Prince Charles, all those, they're all the same. Almost everybody in high positions of power.
All the members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
All of those,
It was
yeah,
interesting, I was reading a document.
Hold on. I move it.
Oh, sorry. I was reading
You can't
it.
help yourself.
I can't help myself
Just
because I was
on a
about
bloody chair, you're rolling around like a 3-year-old with your legs kicked up in the air, sliding back and forth, and I'm saying, sit still.
Oh, I'm stretching. Yeah, so human capital, that's how everybody is regarded. Please.
Human capital?
Human capital, that's their name for us.
Right. Well, of course they
documents.
are, that's a straw man account.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's human capital, and so they refer to the raising of the family when you're having children. They acknowledge that the perfect system is the raising of the family in a well-educated father and mother, where the mother is at home because she's able to care for the cleanliness and the all of the nurturing. But they refer to everything in terms of capital. This is a capitalist system, and how it has been responsible for modernising the industrialised nations and the benefits that it's brought and the drawbacks, etc., etc. But they also recognise that the inequality of the races is, it doesn't matter if you mix them all together. Certain races, which is what Adam has been saying, is that because of their IQ level, certain races will never make it, no matter what you do with them, because they don't have the capability, no matter what environment that they're placed in the modern world, they don't have the mental capability to...
That's why you've got different races.
Mm.
They can't be all the same, otherwise they'd be all bloody white and blue-eyed.
Mm. But human capital, our children, it's the human capital. Everything is referred to in terms of human capital.
Right.
That's why they want us to wear seatbelts. It's their human capital that they are keeping safe. They're protecting investments.
Yeah, of course. It's got nothing to do with the actual safety of the person and suffering. Matter of fact, they do hope you have a serious accident so they can make some money out of it.
Right.
Start selling you your drugs.
Can you turn the camera around, please? And if you come in a little bit and let Adam through behind you, and then I'll get back to... So have we finished with this?
Well, that's the last slide, so you can go through it again if you want.
What I was...
But that does give you an indication of what's happening down there. I think the important thing, the most spectacular thing, I'll just put the camera back on it and zoom in, is those 4 dots rushing away.
Yeah, this is
now
amazing.
It's not lens flare because there's nothing. There's 4 objects glowing in space heading towards a part of the Earth which is where they're going to land. Mm. You see they've got these shields of some sort that's accompanying them. I don't know what it is, but the speed they're moving at, I suppose, has got something to do with the disturbance of the air. And they're giving off light, so they are light objects.
All right. Now, up at the... Shall we talk about...
Anything you like.
Anything I like? Okay, well, Adam is the guinea pig.
All right, yes, we're...
I've already uploaded over at the Scrib site what is called Diabetes Protocol, a doctor who was a diabetic himself, and he's actually...
Are you going there now, or I'll just turn this up?
Oh, here it is. Here's the document. This is up at the Scrib site. Anyway, Adam is trying this. Adam's been a type 1 diabetic since he was 9 years old, and this doctor, his story is that he worked as a physician for years, being funded by pharmaceutical corporations, not looking for a cure for diabetes, but working to...
Keep the business.
Yeah, keep the business going, keep the business model going in the management. If any of you are diabetic, you know, first of all, how awful it is, but how much money you spend trying to stay alive. When my sister was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic years ago,
so it's a hereditary thing, right?
Well, they say it is. It can be hereditary. That's a hereditary gene,
or
etc.
induced by vaccination.
Well, yeah. Look, there's so much. Who
how many
knows?
diabetics were there 100 years ago?
Who knows?
No,
one thing.
Even in Greek mythology.
Yes, it is ancient. Yes.
What it is
was it diabetic 2 or 1?
Diabetic 1.
Yeah.
Mostly they've died by the age of 20.
Well, that happened to my father's brother. He was 27. He was an undiagnosed diabetic.
Yeah.
And
what it is, it's an imbalance of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Bottom line is, Adam's on this protocol, and it's focusing on the detoxing the liver. And when you detox the liver, then it being the filter for everything, it'll bring back into balance your kidneys and your pancreas. It seems to be a focus on the pancreas, the non-action of the beta cells, all kinds of things that have stopped working within the pancreas when they're talking about diabetes. But this man himself, a doctor who is a diabetic, he took the money from the pharmaceutical corporation, which was millions of dollars. They were supposed to be maintaining the studies on managing the business, if you like, but he decided, whether he ends up in jail or whatever, that he and his crew for 12 months would study and work out a cure for reversing diabetes. And that's what he did. So at the website, it is a protocol. Now, it boils down really to probably the blatantly obvious. Now, he says that 42,000 people, type 1 and type 2 diabetics, have been able to reverse cells will begin to refire, if you like. So with that, Adam bought the protocol. And Adam, you said that the guy is in jail, is that...
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, apparently he is in jail, but the word is out. He knew the risks he was taking. So it is a protocol, starting off with the liver detox in the morning, which is simply warm water with the tablespoon of lime juice, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a good apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. It's 1/8 of a teaspoon of rosemary, cayenne pepper and turmeric in
All has to be fresh.
Yes.
Except for rosemary.
Yes, all fresh ingredients, and in a good...
Also, one of the most important is a teaspoon of honey.
The teaspoon of honey, yes. Honey is the only form of natural sweetener that will not spike the blood sugars and is healing, has its own healing properties. So yes, a teaspoon of honey. Now, after this study of the 12 months, what they studied was how does the body handle sugar? How does the kidney, the liver and the pancreas, what really happens when the body ingests sugar? So the result of it is the diet, the protocol that he himself went on. He proved it himself. He said it takes 19 days. Being very strict, an absolute must is the liver cleanse drink that I just told you about every morning.
Basically, what it comes down to is we develop these illnesses by not having a high pH diet.
Yes.
All of us.
Yeah, that's
he
right.
He says, eventually everybody's going to have type 2 diabetes because no one follows a high pH diet regimen. So all it is, he tells you what you need to be eating, the kinds of things you need to be eating, and at the end he goes, now, for those that are in the know, you may understand what I've been saying about all these foods. They're all high pH.
Yes.
You need to have and drinking bicarb is going to change your pH for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then right back down to acidic levels. So
Yes.
you need to be eating high pH.
Yeah.
You need to be eating and living high pH.
That's right.
And along with that, he says, you can't have a life full of stress. You need to have at least 10 minutes to yourself away from all electronics and outside influences. You need to have a hobby, and you need to exercise. And if you're not doing any of these, then there's no chance in hell that you reverse your diabetes. It's that simple.
Now, this is your third morning with the liver cleanse, isn't it?
It's my fourth morning, I think.
Your fourth morning. Have you noticed any change?
From 8 shots down to 2 already.
8 shots down to 2
Yeah.
insulin.
Like usually when I wake up, it would be, even if I haven't waited the 12 hours, which is mandatory in between your Protophane, because you need to give yourself 12 hours before you inject another shot.
Yeah.
It'd be about 10 hours, and I'd have to do another shot.
Right.
And then 30 minutes to 2 hours after that, that's another shot of Nova Rapid to bring the blood sugars back down. And now I haven't even taken a morning shot yet.
No.
You know, I don't wake up with my eyes burning and my bowel, like my kidneys
Yes.
feel like they're about to burst or they're really in pain.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's definitely doing something.
Good. So that's over at the script site. I'll put the link in the description box underneath today's show, and that's about it.
Be up for time, won't we?
We're up for time. We'll go out with Heiko, and it'll be right on time today.
Just for the audience, have a bit of a skate up the hall here in your little wheelie bin that you're running around in.
What?
Your little wheelie bin there that you're running around
In my chair? You mean? No. Enough. All right. DJ console, get back. Let's hope that yes. Okay, still on air. We're live. We've had the intro. Now we'll go out with Heiko's Sunfire. And talk to you later, Gators. Show 60 tomorrow. Oh, no, not 60. 80 tomorrow.
80, yeah.
Or this might be show 80. I don't know. I never remember. Bye. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Just said to me, he will send the sun. Who gonna reign on earth as the righteous king? Just said to John, I love you, my father. I wanna stay with you forever. And I promise Jah, I killed the devil within myself. And just a few days later, break my last chain. And it took not a long time until I found it on the World Wide Web. A man called Mr. Marshall. And I knew just after watching him for a little while. Christ is back. Christ is back on earth. 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 So turn your back on the devil, man. Who is hurting I and I? 'Cause together with the devil, man. Oh, if the devil man, the sun will never shine.